And it was Denmark 1, England 1. And let's say this straight away, England were not very good tonight, were they? It was a night where a win would have got everything sorted for England. The group win would have been confirmed and you can start planning for the round of 16. But we come away from this game not really thinking about the round of 16. We're looking at an England team that just isn't working, is it? It's not really functioning. And there are questions to be answered. And a frankly stunning triple substitution by Gareth Southgate in the second half does suggest he may actually be prepared to answer them this tournament. England go into this one unchanged against the Danes, which means Bellingham in the 10, Foden left, Saka right, Kane up top with Trent Alexander-Arnold still in central midfield alongside Declan Rice. 50-50 stuff for the first 10 minutes, and then, and drink this in because it's going to be a rare occurrence in this match review, England were good from minute 10 until they scored in minute 18. There was a nice bit of patient possession where they kept the ball and made the opening and made the angle. The only time really in the game we saw a pattern of play in England, overwhelming and moving Denmark around. Foden put the shot over the goal. Then there was a really good press where England put Denmark under loads of pressure and, sort of pulled the lever in that manner. But the goal, has to be said, the goal comes from a mistake. Kyle Walker does really well. It's Christensen, the wing-back, over on the left-hand side. Just doesn't know Walker's there. He's concentrating, looking inside. Walker steals in, gets round, knocks it into the box. It's all a bit scrappy, and Harry Kane gets off the mark for the tournament. Now, what people are going to say is that England sat back when they scored. And I don't know whether I agree or whether I disagree. Whether there was a deliberate, okay, we've scored, we're now going to sit back, or whether they were just pretty incompetent after they went 1-0 up. I don't think the other team having the ball and attacking necessarily we can conflate with England sitting back, quote. But what I can't argue with is that the pattern of the game went from England being nicely on top, as, at minute 18 when they scored and Kane scored, to Denmark being in control. Denmark are hurrying, they're outnumbering in midfield, they're getting the ball forward, they're asking questions, they're making defenders defend, etc., etc. And yes, the equaliser is a worldie. Hjulman drives it in with the right foot in off the base of the post. But I don't really want to hear Gareth Southgate coming out and saying, oh, well, we defended quite well, the goal we've conceded is a worldie. Fine, but that papers over the cracks of giving away control of the game at 1-0 up. And I hate to say it, that's been a repeated problem with this England team. I was up in the air on a plane for the Serbia game, but the feedback I've got is England, didn't necessarily control things that well at 1-0 up. They did go on and win the game. However, today, obviously, they've conceded the goal. And we were saying, during the watch-along, coming into half-time, well, if you're a Denmark fan, you fancy go for this and be 2-1 up by half-time. Into the second half, and England had a little slight rally, but all too quickly, the impetus was kind of handed back to Denmark, wasn't it? And then really the big headlines from the second half come from the bench, and England kind of get scruffy as the game goes on. We'd seen a few unforced errors and giveaways nearly leading to chances on goal, and it did get scrappy towards the end. The first big kind of highlight substitution was Trent Alexander-Arnold going out for Conor Gallagher, minute 54. So, okay, a lot of people were saying, oh, Southgate won't change anything till minute 75. He did take Trent out, and as Trent Alexander-Arnold is walking off that pitch, I think me and a lot of England fans are saying, is that then for that experiment? Are we acknowledging that this doesn't work and England need to find a solution in central midfield? That is not ideal. 2 games into a group of a tournament, not really knowing what you're doing in central midfield and moving from one to the other. Who knows? I'm not sure he's going to persist with Trent in central midfield, and that's not me piling in on the player, but it just didn't work, and he was the first player to get the hook. Gallagher gave England legs for a little bit, and then I was so surprised, I have to say, because the camera hadn't picked it up before. We didn't see gradually these players getting readied these three subs. But Foden, Kane, and Saka all out, all substituted, all big names who play for Bayern Munich and Manchester City and Arsenal, top teams around Europe and in the Premier League, big names that are, quote, guaranteed starters. Out they go. And again, I'm sure Gareth Southgate is not going to say, it wasn't working, I needed to change it up. I'm sure he'll say, look, players have played a lot of minutes and there's a lot of pressure on those guys and I needed some answer like that. But it was a bit of a Hail Mary as Bowen, Eze and Watkins came in. Unfortunately, the Hail Mary did the sum total of absolutely nothing, and it just made England look more disjointed, didn't it? We're used to a team that's maybe got Harry Maguire in and Luke Shaw in, and neither of them are there. We don't quite know what the central midfield shape is. You've then taken your captain out, your two first choice wingers, and there's loads of people asking questions about Foden on the left wing as well. And last 10, 15 minutes after the triple sub had, conspired to basically not work, not good. Not a good watch and frustrating. I didn't really think, Denmark are going to nick this and win. But, it was like, well, England ain't winning this one. It's going to end 1-1 at best. Let's have a look at the numbers. 51-49 on the possession in Denmark's favour. 0.85 to 0.82 in England's favour on the XG. But that XG is under 1. England created very, very little. And you can see 12 shots. It does say 3 big chances for England. Let me just see if I can drill into those stats and we get shots on target number. There you go. That's a bit damning, isn't it? Denmark 7 shots on target. England 4. There's just no way with either the eye test or the stats that you can say, England should have got a win today. That would just be nonsense, wouldn't it? I know you can argue England's goal's from a mistake and Denmark's goal is a worldie, but yeah, not seeing England as a big favourite for this after these first 2 games, and particularly after that performance. You're looking for the pattern of play and the ability to control games, and just hasn't been happening. And the best moments in this game, that the goal came from a mistake, the best moments were when Bellingham drove through midfield. Bellingham wasn't great today either. Today it just didn't happen for him. Things didn't come off. It was just one of those days. But it's one of those days for everybody, with people looking knackered on a crappy pitch. Same for both teams. Yes, I understand that. There's a couple of moments when Foden drove from midfield. Trent did it once as well. Other than that, very, very short supply. And genuinely, I think I'm comfortable saying England played well for about 8-10 minutes in the first half and 5 to 8 minutes in the second half. And it's just not going to be enough unless your plan is to come up against Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Portugal, the big nations, and just sit and try and nick something. You've got to control the game at some point. The Euros were there to win against Italy in the second half, and England could not control the game and go out and beat a kind of aging, tiring Italian team and then lost it on penalties. So it's a bit negative today, I have to say, after that performance. And I believe Gareth Southgate has some sorting out to do. Do I think he's now going to stop playing Kane, Foden and Saka permanently? No, I don't think that. Might he stop with Trent in central midfield? I think that might be happening in the next game. But I think there's going to be a couple of changes. Maybe Luke Shaw will be back and that will do something in the left-back area. But central midfield needs to be figured out. But are England immediately going to turn into a team that controls games? I don't particularly know. Here's the table. And let's be fair, if you're being a doom and gloom, and I am being a bit doom and gloom because I don't think it was a good performance. It's one thing to be toxically negative. You can be toxically positive as well and just try and be positive when there's no reason. That's as disingenuous as being toxically negative, by the way, if anyone wants to pull me up either way. 4 points for England if they were to... Well, I suspect they'd even qualify as a best third place team, even if they lost to Slovenia in the last game. If they draw to Slovenia, they're going to have 5 points. Obviously then Slovenia can't catch them. Serbia can't catch them. So draw is enough. Obviously a win will top the group. If Denmark don't beat Serbia in the final game, England will top the group. Look, England will probably top the group, whatever happens. But I think it's reductive and low rent and a silly argument to just be trotting out, oh, look, they're top of the group, they're unbeaten. None of that shows me that if England come up against a big nation, they're going to be able to beat them. On the basis of what I've seen, yeah, fine. You might be able to navigate your way through the round of 16, maybe to the quarterfinals. The problem I've got is I need to see a team that can control a game and isn't just relying on defending and some, I don't know, set player, a midfielder driving through and forcing a goal or a bit of magic or a bit of luck or whatever. I need to see a team who can control the game. That's the only way you can beat a big side. And maybe we'll work towards that in the next couple of games. But unfortunately, from my point of view, a little bit negative from me. Denmark won, England won, and I think more questions than answers. And if you've got the answers, we'll clip this one out and let me know in the comments.